Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. My name is Ryan Beesmer. I'm with the Rawls Group. I'm one of our associate planners, and I'm here today to talk with you guys about teaching teamwork. You know, why it's important, why it's something that you should want in your organization. I think it probably seems like a no-brainer, right? We all want to make sure that we're working together as a team, but you wouldn't be surprised to know that it doesn't come naturally. The standard operating procedure for most individuals isn't to work together as a team. I think about sports analogies, particularly football. I'm a big football fan, so I always think about, how many touchdowns does a quarterback throw? Does that really impact the win or loss record? Of course, the number of touchdowns compared to somebody else's touchdowns, yeah, that could impact your win-loss record, but touchdowns are an individual stat. Quarterbacks want to maximize their individual stats so they can get the best contracts possible, and hopefully that turns into Super Bowls, but at the end of the day, it's just an individual stat. Thinking about that conceptually, we as individuals want to maximize our individual stats. I think about the money coming into my bank account, I think about the number of people that report to me, the number of decisions I have to make in a day, right? These are things that as an individual, they might matter. They might be a sense of pride for me. Oftentimes what gets left by the wayside is how does the team perform, or how does the business perform as a whole versus me just as an individual. If my department or me as an individual contributor, I'm meeting the goals that I have for myself, then maybe I don't really care how the larger organization performs, even if it's heading down. Maybe as long as I can cash my checks, I'm doing good. Today we're going to talk about how do we take people like that, turn them into a team. How do we take a group of individuals and encourage them to work together as a team towards a common goal, a common focus, rising tide lifts all ships mentality. How do we instill that in others? So we wanted to get into what does it mean, right? Setting aside personal egos and goals to pursue the larger mission of the team. Unhealthy dynamics in organizations can lead to people keeping score. I did this for you, so it's time for you to do this for me. Or I've done 12 things for you, when are you going to pay up, right? When in reality, we need to be a little altruistic when we're working together towards a team goal, right? Sometimes I'm going to have to carry 60% of the load. Sometimes you're going to carry 70% of the load. Sometimes I'm going to do one really critical task that pushes us over the finish line after you've done a month's worth of work, but together we were able to make sure it was accomplished. If we're too busy keeping score of, petty squabbles between you and I or the boss or whomever, then we're not really focused on what that goal is that we all want to achieve in the long run. So how do we do this? How do we take, an individual contributor or a manager who's really focused on their own department and get them to see that bigger picture? What are the goals for us as an organization, not just you or not just your department? I think, just being frank, it starts with you. It starts with you as the leader, the person that recognizes that change is necessary, oftentimes has to be the first person to go about that change. So what does that mean? It means putting forth a lot more effort than maybe you were doing before, or making sure that effort is recognized, making sure that people understand that why you're doing something is because you want to make sure that the success of everybody trumps the success of one. So thinking about that, what are you doing in your day-to-day to make sure that you're picking up the load for other people? As a manager, it's easy, right? You know what your direct reports are responsible for, so maybe you can help out filling out a paper form for them or help them out with making sure they have a day off, right? That's more of the personal side of management, but at the end of the day, making sure that people feel comfortable where they're at is important. So number one most important thing when you're trying to instill teamwork within a group of individuals is making sure you as the leader are demonstrating that day in and day out. You really, really have to lead with it. Why am I doing this? Because it's important that we work together. Once you've developed that mindset in yourself, knowing that you're going to wake up every day and maybe add it to the list, right? Do some work today as a team and make sure that I'm calling that out. It's not necessarily, hey, look at what I'm doing for you. It's, I'm helping you because I want to make sure we all succeed. Incentivize your employees, communicate what your expectations are. If they don't know that teamwork is important to you, what do you expect them to do? You have to make sure that you are communicating to them that teamwork is an imperative for you and your organization to be successful. You need to work together. It's not we'd like you to work together. You have to. It's now part of the job description. Team player here. And then celebrate. When you see these examples of people coming together and working the service lanes and making sure that all the clients are talked to, or filling out F&I paperwork, whatever it might be, making sure that the job is done together, celebrate that. You as the leader should be recognizing that immediately in the moment. Great job for helping your teammate, pulling your teammate up. And then, highlighting the value different team members bring. This one is a little bit less So you've got a team of individuals, they've all got different skills, things that they bring with them to the job. And then of course the things that you've taught them. Highlighting the different things that everyone brings to the table in whatever setting appropriate, whether you have a team meeting or you're working on a specific project, and just calling out, I know that you've got some great Excel skills. Can you maybe lend your hand here to this project? Or, hey, you are an excellent negotiator when it comes to working these deals. Do you mind sitting in with us? Right? And so highlighting where your team members can fill in each other's gaps, right? Not every member of the team is going to be an excellent communicator or great at working with different programs or, have all the certifications to do different things, but making sure that the rest of the team knows that, one, the expectation is that they be available to help the team. They have those skills and abilities. So highlighting those is really important. So communicating the expectations, celebrating when you witness these examples of great teamwork, and then highlighting the different strengths and abilities of your team, right? 3 important things that you have to do to build teamwork. The last thing I'll talk about really quickly here is addressing dissent. And I hate to use this word, we throw it around here at the Rawls Group sometimes, and it's it's quite punitive. Organizational terrorists. We all know examples of them. The people that come in and they've got nothing good to say. It's always going to be, what haven't you done for me lately? All the problems that they see in the business without a single solution. You've got to know who those folks are. I'm not saying that the first thing that we should show them is the door. Obviously not. We should always lead with empathy and try to understand where that person is coming from. If they've got critiques about the way the business is being run, ask them for some solutions. Put it on them. Say, hey, how can we do better? But at the end of the day, we definitely want to recognize who those dissenters are, who are going to be challenges to the teamwork environment. And frankly, I think a conversation, an open kimono, as we say, a conversation about how maybe they're not living up to the expectations that are being set is really important. And you want to kind of address that early on. You want to give them some chances, try and come around to this idea that we need to work together as a team. And if we do, we can accomplish a lot more than if we just work by ourselves. And I say that should be a positive overture. It should never be a, you're not doing this, wag the finger, you're not doing this teamwork thing well enough, I need you to get it together. No, I think you need to come from a place of, I really think that this teamwork thing, this crazy idea, one of the most important, positive changes as a group that we can make for our future, for your future, for my future, for all of our success. And I really want you to be a part of that with us and give them that opportunity, give them that positive motivational leadership opportunity to jump on board. A really, maybe a tough conversation in the moment leads to you all of a sudden have one of the best employees that you've ever had, because sometimes just needed to know that you were paying attention, right? Once they hear from you, that you genuinely want them to be a part of the solution of the problem, I think you'd be surprised the number of people that would turn around and really start giving some of their best effort at that point. But we all know that that's not necessarily always going to be the case. And, I think it's important to candidly reflect on their ability, their desire and progress towards adjusting to the behavior. And then, at the end of the day, if you're telling them teamwork is an important part of our culture and through their actions or words they're telling you that they're not capable of living up to that value, then it might be time to find an amicable solution there where maybe they go find another place of employment. That can be a tough road to go down sometimes, but at the end of the day, if we're trying to change a culture of an organization from one where everyone's out to fight for themselves and sometimes it can feel like a meeting is a knife fight in an alleyway, then it's important that we give the right opportunities, of course, and lead with empathy, but that at the end of the day, the people that are not there to be a part of the positive change need to go. So there we have it. Bit of a 3-step guide to helping develop teamwork in your organization or within your team. Step 1, you have to be the model of it for your team. You have to show them this is what teamwork is. This is me helping you, not because it directly benefits my responsibilities or my goals here, but because it helps us as a team or as an organization. You gotta incentivize your team to work together, communicate those expectations, celebrate the wins, call out when you see your team working together, and then address those organizational terrorists. Lead with empathy, give them an opportunity to jump on board and be a part of the positive change. But eventually, if they're not able to commit to it or, say one thing, do another, then it's going to be time to find them another position. Maybe that's a different firm. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to build a team, even one bad apple can spoil the bunch. And so making sure that everyone that's there is on board with what you're trying to accomplish is incredibly important. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk today. This is Ryan Beesmer for the Rawls Group on teamwork. Thanks. I'll see you again later.